Introduction to Cloud Computing and AWS. In this particular chapter, we will be covering overview of cloud computing, AWS fundamentals and core services, setting up an AWS account, followed by an hands-on exploring the AWS Management Console and setting up a basic EC2 instance. Overview of cloud computing. Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of computing resources over the internet such as storage, databases, servers, networking and software. It enables users to rent IT infrastructure without the need for large upfront investments. Resources can be scaled up or down based on the user's demand, making it cost effective and highly flexible. Some of the key characteristics of cloud computing includes on-demand self-service. Users can provision resources as needed without human intervention. Then we have broad network access. Cloud resources are accessible over the internet from any device. Resource pooling. Cloud providers pool resources to serve multiple customers using multi-tenant models. Scalable and elasticity. Resources can be dynamically scaled up or down based on demand. Measured service. Pay only for what you use through a utility style billing model. Now next we're going to look at advantages of cloud computing. Cost efficiency reduces capital expenses for purchasing hardware and maintaining data centers. Your speed and agility. Provision computing resources within minutes. Global scale. Access services from anywhere in the world with low latency through a network of data centers. Performance. Cloud providers maintain the latest hardware, resulting in faster and more efficient systems. And finally, security. Advanced security features such as data encryption, DDoS protection, and access controls are often integrated. AWS fundamentals and core services. Now, AWS or Amazon Web Services is the leading cloud provider offering a wide range of service across compute, storage, databases, networking, machine learning, and more. AWS helps businesses deploy and manage applications at scale. Some of the key concepts of AWS include regions and availability zone, where AWS operates in multiple regions globally, each containing multiple availability zones or AZs. AZs are isolated locations within a region that provide redundancy in case of a data center failure. There are also edge locations. Edge locations are used to cache content closer to users for faster delivery using services like CloudFront. Then we have the AWS core services, which include compute. To start with, Amazon EC2, which is Elastic Compute Cloud. It provides scalable virtual servers, which are instances. Users can launch, configure, and manage these instances based on their needs. Then we have the AWS Lambda, which is a serverless compute service that lets users run code without provisioning or managing servers. And we have also Elastic Beanstalk, an easy to use service for deploying and scaling web applications and services. You don't have to remember the definitions for these. We're going to cover all these in detail as and when we go through this video series. Next we have storage. The first one is the Amazon S3, which is the simple storage service. Scalable object storage for data and like files, images, and backups. Next we have the Amazon EBS, which is the Elastic Block Store, persistent block storage for use with EC2 instances. And finally, we also have the Amazon Glacier, which is low-cost storage for data archiving and long-term backups. Next, look at some databases. We have Amazon RDS, which is Relational Database Service, which is managed relational databases. Example can be MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Oracle. Then we have Amazon DynamoDB, which is a fully managed NoSQL database service. And we also have the Amazon Redshift, a fast, scalable data warehouse solution. Next core service is networking. We have Amazon VPC, which is a virtual private cloud, which enables users to provision a logically isolated network for their AWS resources. We have the elastic load balancing, which is ELB, which distributes incoming traffic across multiple targets, EC2 instances, containers to ensure high availability. Then we have Route 53, a scalable DNS and domain name registration service. Next, let's go over setting up an AWS account. For this, you'll have to sign up for AWS, choose an AWS support plan, and enable MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. And finally, we will go over exploring the AWS free tier. So let's jump into it. Step 1 is to sign up for an AWS account. I already have an account, but still I'm going to walk you through the steps. First, it says create an AWS account. So visit the AWS website, which is aws.amazon.com, and on the top right you'll see a create an AWS account button. So click on that. This will take you to the sign up page. Now the sign up page will ask you for a root user email address. This is used for account recovery and for some administrative functions. Then it will also ask for AWS account name, which you can change later in your account setup. So I'm going to go ahead and give my email and my account name, and say verify email address. Now it will send me an email for validation. For me it's 795870. Click on the verify button. Once it's done, it's your email address has been successfully verified. Now it will ask you to create a strong password. Create a strong password here. Make sure all those requirements are set and then continue. Next, it will ask me for contact information. And once I fill out this form, I'm going to go to step 2, which is billing information. And once I provided all the information that needs, I'm going to say verify and continue to step 3. Here, it will ask me, how do you want to verify your identity? I'm going to say text message, country, and give my phone number. And I've got the verification code, which I'll enter here. So next is asking me to sign up for AWS support plan. So there's this basic, which is free, includes access to AWS documentation and community forums. We also have the developer support, which is $29 per month, which is paid support for test and development. Next, we have the business from $100 per month, which is for production environments with faster support. And also there's an enterprise level support for mission critical applications with a dedicated technical account manager, which starts from, as you can see here, $15,000 a month, and you will receive 15-minute response times and concierge style experience with an assigned technical account manager. I'm going to say I'm just going to stick to this. Say complete sign up, and it will say congratulations, thank you for signing up for your AWS, and it's saying we are activating your account, which should take a few minutes, and you can say go to AWS Management Console. So AWS offers a free tier which allows new users to explore AWS services for free for the first 12 months. Services like EC2, S3, and Lambda have free tier limits, example 750 hours per month of EC2 usage. Finally, let's look at the hands-on, where we will be exploring the AWS Management Console and setting up a basic EC2 instance. First step is to navigate to the AWS Management Console. Step 2 is launching an EC2 instance. Step 3 is configuring your instance. Step 4 is review and launch the instance. Step 5 is connecting to your EC2 instance. And finally, installing and configuring a web server. So these are the 6 steps that will follow, and make sure that you follow along. Let's get started. Let's start with our hands-on experience, where we will explore the AWS Management Console and deploy our first EC2 instance. So the step 1 was to navigate the AWS management console. And as soon as you log in, the thing that you see is called the AWS management console. This is the web-based interface where you can access and manage all your AWS services. Some of the key areas of this console include the search bar, which is here on the top, where you can quickly search for services like EC2, S3, and Lambda. So you can do EC2 and jump on there directly. The search bar will still be there. You can switch to something else. You can do S3, jump to S3, or if you want Lambda, you can go here and search for Lambda and jump to Lambda. So this is the main search bar, and I can go back to the management console by pressing this AWS again. So this is back to the main dashboard. Now it will show me recently I have visited these, and it will keep on showing them here. We also have the services menu here, which you can click and go through different services. It lists all the AWS services by category. If you see here, it has all these categories. You can also look at all your services here, which will show you all the different services under their respective category heading on the top. Now, let's start with our EC2 instance. So how do you launch an EC2 instance? Well, first, let's go to EC2 by clicking here. This is one of the ways. You get to the EC2 dashboard. Here, you can click on that launch instance button over here to start your EC2 service. When you get here, Amazon provides you this step-by-step widget which will let you create that EC2 instance. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a tag to my server. I'm going to call it my first web server. Also, you can add additional tags if you want to. Next, application and iOS images, which is AMIs, which is Amazon machine images. I usually use Amazon Linux or Ubuntu for trial purposes because those have free tier eligibilities. If I click on Ubuntu, I have this. In Amazon Linux, I'll say confirm changes because since I'm switching, and it has that option here. Next, instance type. Depending on how much capacity you want for them from this instance, you can select different ones. The default one is T2 micro, which is eligible for free tier, which is free tier eligible. And then we have many more. If you want something smaller, something bigger, you can select based on what your capacity that you're looking for. Now here is the key pair login. I can select if I have one here. It says proceed with the key pair not recommended. Without a key pair, nope, not recommended. So I'm not going to do that, but I will create a key pair in the next step. Network settings. I have my network settings here, which has the VPC selected here. We have subnet, and it will automatically create if it doesn't exist. Also, we have configured the storage. It gives me up till 30 GB if you see here, but it's selected 8. I don't care about it because I'm building a simple web server, Apache web server, so I don't need anything. There's advanced details if you want to look at other things like domain, join directory, IAM, instance profile, which we'll learn as and when we do more projects in the future chapters. But for now, I'm going to keep the default. Also, number of instances, I'll keep 1. I don't want multiple instances running, and it gives me all the options here, and I'm going to say launch instance. So all I've added was the name to it and selected the particular AMI for this. So now it's asking me to create a key pair. So I'm going to create a key pair. I'm going to call it my web server key, and I'll keep RSA, I'll keep PEM, and I'm going to say launch instance. And this will start my instance, and also it will download my key. So here I'm going to move it to my desktop folder. So that's good. Next thing, I'm going to go back to my EC2 and look at my instances that are running. I have one instance here. I can select it and I can look at the instance, and in the details I can see this is the IP address. If I open this right now, it will not work because I have not enabled anything. Also, I have the host names, the private IP DNS, all the information is right here about it. You can look at different status and alarms, monitoring. It also created a security group which allows me to look at do SSH to it on port number 22, but I also want it to so I can open it from the browser. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to, inside my security group, I am going to edit the inbound rules. I'm going to add another rule, and this time, since I want to access it from HTTP, I'm going to say HTTP port number 80, and I'll say enable everything, all the traffic. save rules, and that is saved for that security group. Go back to my EC2, again go back to my first web server, have that here. Now if I want to connect to it and install my Apache server, what I'm going to do is, let's see, it's not loaded. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to select this and press the connect button. This will give me information on how to connect using SSH client. There's also directly EC2 instance connect, where you can directly press the button connect and it will open a terminal right here, but I want to do it using a terminal. I'll go to my desktop because that's where my key is. Let me make sure it's there. Yes, it's there, the my web server key. And I'm going to say SSH minus I. The steps are right here. SSH minus I. Say my web server key. They've added a quotes here because sometimes you put spaces in there. That's why. And the user is EC2 dash user. Now, where do I get this from? Just you get it from here, or you can also look at the users here that I have. So that is automatically created for you. At the rate, I'm going to just copy this because I can't type that much. And it says that it will the authenticity of host can't be established. So do you want to proceed? I'm going to say yes. And it gave me a error here. The permission 044 are too open. So again, one more thing that you'll see here is it's saying chmod do this, which I forgot. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to give that permissions, and then try to run that SSH command again. And now I am into my EC2 instance, so I've connected to that. So always follow the commands that they give you, just to make sure that everything works fine. So I'm in there now. If you're not familiar with how to install an Apache server, here is it. First, I'm going to go and check my yum. If it update, make sure it's up to date. That's good. Next, I'm going to install httpd -y. So this will install my Apache server. And next, I am going to say sudo system control and start my httpd server. It will start it, no errors, perfect. And then I'll say system, so it doesn't shut down automatically, it restarts on it automatically. So I'm going to say enable httpd. Make sure that the service is always running. Now I'm going to go back to that URL and refresh, and there you go, it works, which means the server has been started and it's running. So that's how you can create an EC2 instance, run Apache server on it, and run your website on it. So in this particular video, we have covered cloud computing and how cloud computing allows you to access computing resources on demand, offering scalability, cost efficiency, and flexibility. We also did how AWS provides a robust set of services across compute, storage, databases, and networking, making it a leader in cloud computing. We also saw how AWS provides a robust set of services across compute, storage, databases, and networking, making it a leader in cloud computing. We also went ahead and set up an AWS account, which was pretty straightforward, and the AWS free tier provides a great starting point for learning and experimentation, and that is what we used, where we created a hands-on exercise where we did a basic EC2 instance and uploaded and created our own Apache server, ran our own Apache server. This particular video lays the foundation for working with AWS services and managing cloud infrastructure. If you have any questions or got stuck somewhere, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.